This presentation is to give you an overview of IPM and how it works in normal office environment. I'm going to go through an agenda, basically explaining the general functionality of the product, talking about the way we manage documents, internal documents, external documents. We'll then go through and talk about forecasting and analysis and reporting. We'll then review the mobility options with the software and talk about office integration, and then finally accounting integration. So the core of the product is the contract control area. Now we don't actually have modules in IPM. All of the components come as part of the one license fee. You can get a limited license which excludes functionality in this particular area as far as variations and progress bills and purchase orders, etc. But generally the normal licensing covers all aspects of the software. So in the contract control area, you would set up your job, you manage your budget, manage your billing schedule for your client, then manage variation requests and variations, progress bills, all of the procurement. Also you can manage the subcontractor invoice or claim processing and purchase order invoice processing. In the document control area, you're managing a lot of other documents that are not financially driven. These are the general project documents in the system. So issues, RFIs, drawings, transmittals, extensions of time. Now all of these can link to the contract control documents, and so one might you might start off with an issue that might go on to become an RFI, and that then might generate a subcontract variation and also a head contract variation, and all of those steps can be workflowed so that the same information is passed through from one document to the next. We also have an HSE area for health, safety, environment, for managing incidents, non-conformances, inspections, pre-starts, all of that sort of functionality around the system. A resource management or a resource control system where we're tracking timesheets, personal timesheets, materials movements, equipment requisitions. We have an equipment maintenance area where we're tracking equipment preventative maintenance schedule, fault tracking, service history, inspections, equipment inspections, and so on. So lots of different areas in the software, broken out really because for ease of use, for ease of navigation, because people will usually focus on one or two areas. Not all of our clients use all of the software. Some use just contract control and a few documents. Others will extensively use our timesheeting, and others will have a full-blown equipment maintenance requirement. Now when we talk about documents in the system, we're talking about things like RFIs and variations and so on. We actually record those as data in the system and generate the documents from them. So when you create an RFI, you'll go in, record the which project it's for. The system will generate the next RFI within that project. So your number sequence always embeds the project. Fill in the details. You can then add library documents, and library documents are external documents, so things like drawings and specifications and swim statements and so on. You can then choose who you're going to send this document out, and then when you send it out, what we're actually sending is a PDF, and the PDF will go out with links to all of the library documents. So we're not sending out mammoth PDF emails with lots and lots of attachments. We're sending out a simple PDF that then the recipient of that PDF can click on the hyperlink and download the associated documents. So at this stage what we'll do is we'll take a look at the software. I'll just bring up my virtual machine. So IPM presents through a number of different interfaces. So one of those interfaces is as a plugin or integrated into Outlook. So I can be on my in my inbox, and I can then navigate fairly easily down to my IPM components. So I can come down to jobs or any of the other documents that I want to manage within IPM. Now from here I can open up a job. Now looking at the job, there are all the usual suspects on the job, who the customer is, who the project manager is, etc. A number of different areas on the job record, so I can come here and navigate down to the original budget, for instance. The original budget is designed to be imported from Excel, so you can prepare your budget in Excel or in an estimating system that will export to Excel and then import that budget into the project. A number of other areas on the project, but I'm not going to go through those just at the moment. What I will do though is I'll come up here, and this gets me to all of the related documents within the project. So I can navigate to my variation requests, purchase orders, drawings, RFIs. So this would get me to a collection of documents that relate specifically to this project. So for instance, if I go down to the RFIs, the system's going to show me all of the RFIs that are currently related directly to this project. And from here I can open up one of these RFIs. Okay, so I've now opened up the RFI, and you can see I've got a document that's numbered within the project. I've got an area for my question, the required date. It's telling me it's a few days overdue. Down here I've got some library documents that I've added to this RFI before I send it out, and I can add more documents to this if I need to. I can just bring up a selection list, and it will allow me to add as many drawings and documents as I like. I've already added a whole bunch, so I won't add any more to this RFI before I send it out. Likewise, I can drag additional random documents onto a drag and drop zone here on the document. Here I've got a list of people that I'm actually going to send this out to. So once I've prepared my RFI, I can just click on the send request, and the system will generate an email based on an email template specifically designed for sending RFIs. Okay, so I've got my email. So you can see there that it's merged a lot of the information in from the RFI. I've got my question, I've got my required date. Over here I've got the PDF of the RFI document, and of course that's got those hyperlinks included on it that will allow me to, or allow the recipients to download the associated documents. So then when I'm ready, all I need to do is click on the send button. The system will send this out, and when it sends it out, it will actually keep a copy of it underneath the underneath the RFI. So if I come up here, I can go to the closed activities, and this will then show me all of the emails. So you can see there I've sent this email out a number of times, and I've filed some emails against it. But now when I send that out, what's going to happen is it's going to go out through my outbox, and you can see I've got a lot of emails there. When it sends it out, it actually puts a tracking number here on the subject line. And what that tracking number enables us to do is, if somebody replies to my email, then as soon as their email hits my inbox, their email will get filed. So the system sees that tracking number on the inbound email, and it files back into the system underneath the document that it relates to. Okay, so from a core functionality perspective, I'm not going to go into any of the documents at this stage, but that just gives you an idea of the nature of the navigation within the system. Let's just go back to my PowerPoint. So one of the important things to be able to do, of course, is to get information back out of the system. So you've got all of these transactions going into the system. You need to be able to access that information in an easy to understand way. So we'll just go back in here. The first thing I want to talk about is dashboards. So dashboards are a good way of actually presenting a lot of information, so that they're good for keeping you up to date on the current status of documents and to keep you notified of what's actually going on in the system generally. Now, dashboards will present information across all projects, not just on a specific project. So for instance, this dashboard that's just loaded, it's showing me all of my overdue RFIs for all of my projects. Now that list of RFIs is context sensitive, so it does depend on who you are as to which documents it's actually going to show you. Likewise, with the subcontracts to be approved, it would only be showing me documents that are actually specifically assigned to me. Unapproved extensions of time, active issues, etc., can all be personalised, or they can be generic if you've got a general information you want to present to the entire team. Now you can change between dashboards. So for instance, just to give you a different look, this is an incident management dashboard. So our incident tracking system allows us to monitor the incidents by type and by project and by status, and my pending incidents and my open incidents, and of course as I close out incidents as being dealt with completely, they'll drop off the list. To go to a different dashboard, if I go to my equipment maintenance dashboard, that's going to show me all of the status of all of my equipment. So what registrations I've got due in the next 30 days, services to be generated, services in progress, scheduled services, and so on. So quite easily I can move around the system and get quite a bit of information easily. Now if I'm after project-specific information, let's just go to a different screen. Let's go to this one. This is going to allow me to look at a specific project. So if I select the project here at the top of the list, it's then going to show me project-specific information. So I've got my total budget, pending and approved changes, my commitments, and my actual costs. So that actual cost figure is coming live out of your accounting system. Now if I move to any of the cost centers, it's going to give me the same sort of information at the cost center level. If I want to see what actually goes to make up those costs, then the system will drill through to your accounting system and actually grab the information back out of the accounting system and present it to you on the screen, so that I can see individual transactions that have been posted against that cost center. Now we use this dashboard for updating percentage completes, production units in place, forecasting information. I've got a Gantt chart going here that allows me to forecast out when certain sections of the project are going to be complete. And I can create critical paths or dependencies here between the various tasks. Now we've got the same sort of approach for all jobs. So I can have a look at an overall jobs dashboard, and it's going to show me all of the information on all of my current jobs. And again, if I select the job, it's going to show me the relevant information over here on the right hand side. Okay. Now we also have quite a portfolio of reports available. The best way to run a project report is to select a particular project. So I'm just going to open this project up again. Okay, so I've got my project. If I want to run a report, all of these reports are going to report on this particular project. I'm just going to run one of our standard cost reports. This will give you an idea of what sort of information you can gain access to within the system. Okay, so this is a standard cost report. So it's showing me the original contract, the budget, breakdown by cost center. I can drill into these numbers. So if I wanted to see what that $20,000 was all about, then I can click on that and it will drill me through and show me the cost transactions related to that particular cost center. So the reports are all developed using a Microsoft standard reporting tool called SSRS. Now, if I want to actually take this information out to Excel, something quite remarkable actually happens. So let's just open up the Excel spreadsheet. What's different about the way IPM exports its reports is that it's still presented pretty much the same as it was on the screen. So the information is presented in cells, the formatting, oops, the formatting is all is almost exactly the same as it was on the screen. I can, of course, export out into a number of formats, but Excel is a fairly common requirement. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint. Office integration. Okay, so we've talked about Office integration so far as Outlook integration is concerned. We're filing those emails. We're actually synchronizing contacts and appointments and so on in the background as well. So there's quite a lot actually happening there, and to-do items as well. We also integrate directly with Word though. So if you've got standard documents you need to generate, whether it might be a practical completion letter or some other general letter, you can just you can create that as a Word template, save it into the system. So it becomes a standard. It's not something that somebody can mess with. They can just go and run it. And then you can generate those documents on demand. So select the project or the subcontract or whatever and generate those documents. I'll show you one of those shortly. We also allow the uploading of Excel templates. So you can load Excel templates into the system and generate those on demand. We also integrate directly with Microsoft Project. So you can, and we're talking about project desktop application, not server application. So you can take a Microsoft Project file with our integrator, you can then load that up into IPM. You can then update it in IPM and then you can send those changes back out to Microsoft Project. Okay, so let's go back and have a look at some of that Office integration. So one of the first things that I want to show you is the other Word templates. So the Word templates are pretty interesting. I'm going to show you an interesting example of a Word template. This is one of the most challenging documents that we have that we find from a formatting perspective are subcontract agreements. And subcontract agreements can be 30 or 40 pages long. They're usually very detailed and people want to amend them before they send them out. So if I've selected a subcontract, you can see I'm on the subcontract view, so these are all the projects that relate to this particular subcontracts that relate to this particular project. I can then come to the Word templates area, tell it to create a subcontract. I'm going to choose this subcontract with drawings template, and the system will then generate the subcontract document for me on the fly. I can then just open that up, and there's my subcontract agreement. And you'll find that that's it's 39 pages. It's merged the company details, the subcontractor details, and all of the details of the subcontract into the agreement. And if I come down, and I've managed to choose one that didn't actually have any drawings, so they would be listed there somewhere. No. Anyway, so but to actually generate those documents is really very simple to do, and we'll just wait for that to refresh. Okay, so that's a Word template, and you can really create Word templates for anything and store them in the system. Now if I go to a different area, what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to show you the Excel templates. So if I've loaded Excel templates are good for doing quick analysis. So I've just got a little Excel model in here. It's going in and it's grabbing all of the current information about the project, and I just wanted to open up that Excel template. So it's extracted out of IPM, it's extracted the budget and the total cost, and then it's just put it in a little chart for me so that I can see exactly where I'm under or over. And you can see, let's see, I've got a bit over in the site work, under in the concrete. I've got lots of room on the other cost centers. So that's an Excel template. Now the Microsoft Project integration is a little more difficult to demonstrate because it just works. You just point the system at a particular project file and it will basically pull all of the activities out of that project file and pump them into IPM. So let's just have a look at the activities. This is one of the screens that you would use to actually access that activity information. So this is going to show me the activities around the project. So these are all my project activities, and I can see the dependencies here, and I could go and update start and finish dates, etc. Now what I can do once I've got this information in the system, then I can start linking these activities. I can start linking them to my cost centers, and I could also start linking them to documents. I can also provide access to these activities on mobile devices. So we'll look at that in a minute. So mobility. So Dynamics has an out-of-the-box app that gets installed on iPads and Androids and iPhones and Windows phones and Windows tablets, and it provides access to pretty much anything that you decide you want to push out. So here I've got a few screenshots of there's a project screen, and that's a site diary. And I mean, if I want to provide access to issues and so on, I'm just going to open up the app live. Now this is actually running on my desktop, but it runs exactly the same way on an iPad or an Android device. So I'm just going to bring this up on. It's opened up on a site diary. So you can see here some of the components. I've got a signature block. I can go to my labor. I could update my labor. So there's the people that are on this site diary. I could go through and update their hours. I can go home. So let's just go home. Let's then go to my jobs. And once I open a job, I can go, as I can through Outlook or through the browser, I can go to anything inside the job. So here's, I've got my job. Now these are my project activities. So if I go there, I can see all of the activities that are being tracked on this particular project. And I could actually go in and update any of these. So I open one up, I could update the actual start, actual finish, percentage complete, etc. So I'm doing all of this on my mobile device, whatever that is, whether it's a phone or a tablet. Tablets come up are better presented than a phone. You're very challenged with real estate on a phone. Okay, and finally we've got accounting integration. So with accounting integration, we see IPM sitting between your estimating and your project management and your accounting, providing project management functionality. So we talk to a lot of standard accounting applications. I think we're up to about 8 or 10 or something. Here's the list. So we integrate, we use different technologies to talk to each accounting system. We can talk to multiple data sets. So if you've got multiple companies and you want to talk to one IPM system, we can do that as well. So that really brings us to the end of this presentation. It's just a short overview to give you a bit of a taste, a bit of a feel for what IPM is all about and how it might be used in your organization. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to talking to you about IPM in the future. Thank you.